Welcome back to Nottingham and the Outlaw Triathlon. The 2.4 mile swim phase is completed for the leaders, and next the field will head out on the bike course, and it starts with a couple of laps around the perimeter road at the National Water Sports Centre so the athletes can get their heads together after the swim. And then it's 112 miles in the saddle, and that can take you a long way, and this course is fantastic, taking the racers out into the Nottinghamshire countryside, a loop that heads through Southwell, up through Hockerton and Kirklington, and then heading back to the transition area via Farnsfield and Oxton into T2 to put on the running shoes. It sounds so easy, doesn't it, when described like that? It's anything but, though. Well, Lucy Gossage, part of that TFN block team, international quality triathlete. She'll be off to Hawaii to the World Championships using this team race as a bit of training. Lou Collins will go on the last leg for TFN. It was Helen Gorman, former international swimmer, that led them out. And there's Ian Panting, the man that led everybody out in the swim, but doesn't look quite as comfortable on the bike, does he? Just trying to keep those legs turning. Ian Hawkins in hot pursuit. This man knows his way round a bike course. And they're still streaming out of the water, individual and team athletes. Remember, 11 p.m. the cut-off time for this race. So some 16, 17 hours as Tom Williams looks for some more fluid, and that's a skill in itself. Third time's a charm? No, it isn't. And if you don't get the fluid on, you're in trouble. He's going to line that one up. There we go. Fourth time lucky for Tom Williams on the fluid grab. And he's going to need it today. This is starting to warm up the race and the heat of the day as well. Lucy Gossage is flying on the bike. Well, I can tell you the news from the course is that TFN Block, the Nottingham-based triathlon club, are going very well. They've already overhauled High Five, and Lucy now has Team Finley in her sights. And look at this, making easy work of it. And that's the thing, when these international class racers manage to get into their rhythm, they're very tricky to stop. Now back to the individual competition, and Joanna Swallow turning in a fantastic performance, using some of the team cyclists as markers. Team High Five being passed by yet another rider. But you have to set your own pace. It's not about trying to go with the people that go past you. It's about knowing what you're capable of. Lucy Gossage making very easy work of this bike course. Team Finley trying to stay with it. Well, the competitors really enjoying some wonderful conditions here on this specially marked out route, taking them up into the countryside of Nottinghamshire. Timothy Mayle in the men's individual race, hunting down the women's leader, Joanna Swallow. And talking of hunting people down, it's time to hear from the latest incarnation of Robin Hood's nemesis.
I'm Penny Griggs and I'm the Sheriff of Nottingham. I think it's a wonderful opportunity for lots of people to come and see what a great city Nottingham is. And the triathlon obviously has got sort of lots of links perhaps with Nottingham. You know, we're very famous for rally, and there's the cycling, and we have Rebecca Adlington, who won the gold medal at the Olympic Games. So we've got quite a lot to be proud of here, and we've got the Robin Hood Marathon that happens every September. So all three sports have got a real sort of important link to the city of Nottingham.
Tom Phillips flying past Joanna Swallow, who's still leading for the women. One of our international competitors, James Doust, outside the top 10 in the swim, but flying on the bike. Looks very relaxed, doesn't she, Joanna Swallow? Really driving on in this bike ride and staying well in contention. Nice smile to the camera there from Lucy Gossage. She's clearly enjoying her training run today. Just part of the relay team, so it was Helen Gorman that kicked off in the swim, then it's Lucy on the bike, and then it'll be Lou Collins in the run. And what a story Lou Collins has had over the last few months. We'll catch up with her later in the show. Well, through one of these picturesque towns at the top of this bike course now, as we stay on the back wheel of number 524 Mark Rouillet. Just a reminder of how many competitors have entered this event. Now then, Mr. Hawkins moving along very nicely indeed. His wife expecting their third child any moment now. So this might be the last chance for a bit of racing for a few weeks for Paul, and he's making the most of it. Looks very compact, doesn't he? Lovely line on that bike, not rocking and rolling at all, just keeping those pedals turning, and seemingly with the minimum of effort, which is exactly the same as this man, Tom Williams. Just keeping his focus a little on the road ahead of him. Tom Phillips around one of those tight bends. You always tend to get the crowd gathering there, just in case there's going to be an incident. Well, Phillips actually in second position. Then through goes Timothy Mayle in third, and in fourth place in the men's race, the New Zealander Doust. Still Hawkins that leads though. And this race for the men really starting to hot up. For the women, Joanna Swallow has complete control. It's hers to lose at the moment, and don't say that hoping that we tempt the commentator's curse. Very good to see an athlete in such fine form, and Joanna will be hoping that she'll be able to stay with this sort of pace. She's going to overhaul another rider, Team Finlay, with his Tour de France kit on, and looking very comfortable on the bike. Look out, there's someone behind you. Doesn't seem too concerned though at the moment, as Joanna Swallow just builds up the pace to go past. You can see the sort of speed that they're travelling at. Incredible to believe this is just one phase of this amazing race, as what we call the peloton, I guess, comes through, and a few of these competitors determined to have a bit of fun with the camera today. Hawkins though not indulging in anything like that at the moment. His focus staying strictly on a point just in front of his front tyre. The marshals guiding him down the correct part of the course. Now that's a tough corner, you've got to be very careful around there. And the Team RAF cyclist getting his flight path just right. Now Paul Hawkins coming up to the village of Loudham, and this is where he can peel off from the rest of the field, leading at the moment and heading back towards T2. That's where he'll leave the bike, put the running shoes on and head out for a full marathon. And yes, you heard right, a full marathon. There's a natty piece of riding kit. We'll see it later on today, but when he actually stands up, he's got the full torso on there, and from a distance does look like we've got a naked cyclist, but I promise you it's not a streaker. A funny costume, but competing on behalf of a serious charity, Male Cancers. Now then, Paul Hawkins just taking on a bit of liquid nutrition, getting himself ready mentally for the run. And if you have cycled for a while in the gym and then just got off the bike and walked across the gym, you'll know that your legs turn to jelly. Well, imagine 112 miles on the bike, then you've got to step off, put the trainers on and head out for a marathon, and it takes a little bit of time for the body to adjust. That's where the training regime becomes so important. Joanna Swallow still leading in the women's race and looking very comfortable indeed, and nobody really living with either Joanna Swallow or Paul Hawkins. They've got it all to themselves at the moment as Hawkins comes back to the perimeter road here at Holme-Pier Point, back to the National Water Sports Centre. This really is a fabulous facility, and gets sight now of the lake, and that means transition to not far away, making sure that he picks his way over those speed humps very carefully indeed. You don't want to lose it right here, because that wouldn't be a lot of fun. And you can see there the cycling shoes fixed to the bike, so the feet just slip straight out, and dumps the bike off in T2 into the tent. where a very quick change will be affected, and probably a bit of sunscreen as well going onto the shoulders before he heads out onto the course for the marathon. Now moving through a group of cyclists here on the motorbike, and that's Sean Bennett, age grouper in the 50 plus category, going along very well, as Paul Hawkins, ready to run, leaves the tent and moves out of T2. On goes the hat. A little bit more fluid taken on for the journey ahead. It does take a special sort of mindset ahead of this final phase of the race. This is where it can really get to you. If you've mistimed things, if you've gone too hard in the swim, gone too hard on the bike, this is where the problems can really start out on this run course. Paul Hawkins then, the first athlete to get this marathon phase underway as we move into the third and final part of the Outlaw Triathlon. More action to come after the break.